So do you ever have that happen in meditation?
Yeah.
Something's going to happen today?
Yeah, I'm carrying this potential sneeze for 20 minutes.
Yeah. Where is it now?
Still,
It's with me.
yeah.
Still just potential. With a bit of mind. I read somewhere about how Tibetan Buddhists consider sneezing like this moment of enlightenment. Like there are certain like these moments that like break through. It kind of seems almost true, right? Think about that next time you sneeze. You really can't think about anything and sneeze at the same time. You're just completely one with your sneeze. You can't be like thinking about your problems or your past or future. The sneeze is it, right? It's a nice thing. You tell me next week how your sneezes work. There are like other moments that happen, but right now we'll just practice a sneeze. One at a time. Now, I'm going to try to bring that into what I want to talk about, which is some of the mistakes we make with meditation that are very common. And so we just mentioned one. Thinking that a sneeze is not meditation. Who told you that? That like a sneeze is incompatible with a enlightened mind. So you have to suppress it and like hold it down and struggle until it passes. Then, okay, now I can go back to my meditation. Or maybe it's a cough, like if you're a little bit sick, or a runny nose or something, right? Well, those are physical symptoms too, and they're the mental symptoms as well, like the different thoughts we have. I gotta treat it like a sneeze. It's, you know, going to try to hold it back, or basically judge it as not meditation. There's like meditation, and there's not meditation. Mistake. What is not part of your meditation while you're sitting? What is not part of your meditation? So, I think about this. There's this famous koan, this exchange between a teacher and student in the Zen tradition, and they're used as teaching tools. And I think I even mentioned this one a few weeks ago. He says, the teacher said, Master Bassa said, okay, as an example, you know, there's a buffalo goes through a window. Is it a window? I thought it was a door. I don't know how a buffalo goes through a window. Must be a big window, a low window. Buffalo goes through a window, horns go through, head goes through, all the four legs go through, and the tail does not pass. That's the koan. And obviously you're thinking, how does the tail not pass? Like what is that about? How can the tail not pass? Well, so I'm linking that to the mistake of thinking that there are certain things that simply are not part of my meditation, that are incompatible. And so here, it was the tail, right? Something so small, like your sneeze, your cough, your thought, your whatever experience it is, and you know, that's do not pass. Okay, do not pass. And that kind of attitude is the attitude of picking and choosing your experience while you sit. You know, like go, tail. No pass. Who's stopping the tail from passing? You know, one of the comments is that, you know, the tail is your mind. It doesn't pass or it does not pass. You know, it's just simply, the tail is actually mind. And it's funny because we think of the mind as like, you know, well, that went through because that's so important, you know. And the tail's not important, so it's the opposite end of your mind. And the Zen teacher said, well, actually the tail is your mind. You know, the least important part, the lowest part gets stuck, right? It's the thinking mind that gets stuck. Why? Not because of the thoughts. You could get, just let it keep walking, let it wander, you know? Give it a big field, it won't get lost. It'll great, it'll do what it does. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that cow, that buffalo. Right? But because we say, okay, this is incompatible with my spiritual practice with an enlightened mind. Like, these thoughts cannot be part of my meditation. And it's true, they're not part if you're thinking them. Meaning if you are encouraging them and consciously following them. But if they're just happening, you see, we want what's called choiceless awareness. That choiceless awareness is the awareness of just, receiving and being aware of any cloud, any thought, any experience you have without the picking and choosing, without any choice. It's like, okay, I'm here. Thoughts will happen, Are you going to turn into a tail? Like, you are too lowly, you cannot be part of this. I want to deal with the head, the horns, the big shoulders, right? I want this big body of enlightened mind. And the ox or the buffalo, and especially in Zen, is what's considered the true nature, the Buddha nature. Like, yeah, this whole big, noble, strong animal, not the tail, right? I'm sorry, it's like your whole self or it's no self. Like, either you're all included in your meditation, or you're missing the point. Or those wonderful enlightened thoughts or that quiet mind is not part of it. If some of the disturbances are not part of it, then also the peace and calm and tranquility is not part of it. Because you're making a dual meditation. It's like yes and no. This is meditation, okay, I'm meditating now, and this is not. So thinking that your meditation has to conform to a type of experience is a big mistake, right? And that simply comes down to carrying your expectations into the meditation room with you. You see those shoes there that you left? Leave your expectations at the door. Okay? Your expectations are those shoes. You take off your shoes before you meditate. Are you going to sit with shoes on? No? Consider your expectations the shoes that you take off before you sit. Okay? And this comes to another very common mistake that we make with meditation. That we think that meditation is like a separate practice. It's like a practice on its own. Well, taking off the shoes, that also is part of your meditation. Okay, sweeping the hall is part of your zazen, is part of your meditation session. Okay, putting the pillow down, adjusting the lights, lighting the candle or incense or whatever it is, turning off your phone, is called preparation. The preparation and the practice are one. So thinking that they're separate, that you're preparing in order to meditate, is a mistake. It's a common mistake. Okay? And therefore maybe we can skip the meditation and just get to it. But if you are involved in all sorts of activities and media and internet and all sorts of stuff, and then all of a sudden, okay, all right, I got 20 minutes off, I'm going to now meditate, go sit down. You're going to be on Facebook. Okay? You need to prepare as part of your meditation, right? It's not separate from the meditation. It's all part of the same practice. Right? There's continuity, and what came before and what came after is part of this one practice. So see the meditation as rising and lowering in perhaps intensity, but one practice. Okay? Also, post-meditation, not post-formal meditation. So I want to talk about formal and informal meditation. So the pre-meditation is informal meditation. If you just think you can sit down and get to it, okay, you will, but what are you going to be? What's going to be going on? The residue of what was happening before. Okay? And if you do not have a post-meditation transition period, then it's going to be very easily just shifted and lost. Right? You need to respect the continuity, and to do that you need to encourage both sides. Right? Before and after the formal practice. Okay? So, and that's just creating a more long-lasting intention. So, that's also a common mistake that then can, I would say, reduce some of the benefit that meditation and the continuity that meditation will have throughout your day as a more aware human being. You know, don't make it a separate practice that is separate. And the way you can try to extend and perhaps open the borders, you know, so that that cow is not stopped from going in and out of the window. You know, the window is the post-meditation or pre-meditation. It's like that artificial boundary we make between inside and outside. Because in truth, there is no inside and outside, right? I mean, come on, I can open the window here, and which is when am I in Tel-Aviv? Oh, you know, like it's the same place. So the window of your meditation, it's the same mind, it's you. But you create these buildings in order to support a certain intention and awareness. Okay, fine. But it's artificial. You know that. So by knowing that, we know that then the meditation is like this room I sit in. Okay, the cow, the buffalo comes in, right? But it's not really in. It's always still outside and inside at the same time. Therefore, there's no tail, there's no window, okay? And there's no tail. There's what I decide is my practice. And pre-meditation, take care of it. Post-meditation, don't just go straight back to your, whatever your activity is. Respect, you know, respect your experience, okay? Honor it and shift slowly, okay? Take your time. Right, make the transition consciously. I'll talk about this in retreat, but think of your meditation session as perhaps a short retreat, right? And that is even honoring the experience more. A retreat doesn't mean that then it's even more separate. A retreat means it's more intentional. Retreats are not separate. Whatever you're dealing with in your life, you're going to be dealing with it even more when you're on a retreat, okay? Like there's no escape, right? And when you're on a retreat and you have a lot more silent time, you're going to be a lot more aware of all that stuff that's going on in your mind. Because when we're not on a retreat, we can fill our mind with distractions in order to avoid things that come up. Okay. Consider your meditation, 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever it is. I know on retreat. Okay? I'm on retreat. It just makes it more intentional. Right? More intentional. And the more intention you bring into your practice, okay, the more it opens up. Simply. Right? The more your heart and mind open. So, and that has to do with also, when I'm talking about the word consistency. Right? Consistency. Be consistent. Okay? Sometimes we think coming to this evening is worthwhile. It is. But if it's between coming once a week and sitting every day, please sit every day and don't come tonight. Right? Take those, you know, your daily practice as your practice, not the Sangha meeting as your practice. Sangha meeting is a great support for your practice, right? But it's supporting your practice, okay? And if you miss the support, sometimes you do, but don't miss your practice. So the consistency is making your daily commitment, right, to being conscious in an intentional way for however many minutes and what time you can do. And don't think it'll just happen. That's another mistake, that I will meditate when I have time. No, you will meditate when you make time, right? You never have time. You never have time, but you can make time. So that's the difference of making it an intentional practice. Nobody just shows up to retreat, right? You have to like think about it, decide, reserve, go the distance, okay, and deal with your discomfort. That's happening on a daily basis, right? There's a lot of things you'd rather do. Why? I don't know. You tell me. So take those 5 minutes, those 10 minutes, that half an hour. The duration, and I can say this a million times, and I'll say it a million one. Duration is less important than frequency. Okay? Meaning the amount of time you sit is less important than having a regular daily practice. Having it regular. Okay? I've also given the example many times to reinforce the constancy and consistency of brushing teeth. You know, you brush teeth for 5 minutes, it's going to do its job, right? If you brush more than that, it might help. Maybe it won't. But if you brush for an hour once a week, okay, forget it. Like, it's just, you know, don't bother. Just don't bother. Go visit the dentist. Now this is the other part. The other aspect, since I mentioned a dentist. A teacher is a dentist, okay, or a doctor. Right? I wouldn't say like any type of, I don't want to make anything too big about a teacher's role, but maybe it's more accurate to say a teacher is like your meditation dentist. Okay? Maybe has had some more experience, knows some of the problems that happen in the mouth, and can help a little bit. Right? Open your mouth, look inside. Okay, looks good. You need to brush a little bit more. Which means that even if you have a stable and good practice, even if you brush your teeth every day, every year, or twice a year, or however often you need personally, and you know your mouth better than I do, okay, hopefully, you still need to go to the dentist. Alright? And that means that even with a constant practice, it is important to have a group and a teacher. Okay? It doesn't need to be this root teacher or whatever that is like this whole deep spiritual transmission. No. But it's just about being connected to some guidance and support. That's all. So that you're not, as we say in English, going it alone. Because if you're alone, sitting alone most of the time, like most of us do, it's easy to become discouraged or just to let it, let it go. Right? Because, as I said, there's a lot of good reasons we have in our own lives not to meditate. There's so many good reasons, and none of them matter. And that's what your teacher is here to remind you. That all of your reasons, they're good, but not good enough. So it's like the dentist. He just says, you got to brush more. Like there's no way around it. You just got to brush more. That's all the teacher is there to say. Is saying, just don't skip a brushing. Just don't skip it, right? Don't do that. There's a, speaking of brushing, there's this other nice koan that came to mind about meditation and our expectations. I mentioned brushing teeth because I try to normalize. I try to normalize meditation as a very normal, ordinary practice. It's an ordinary thing, okay? You take care of different parts of your life. You shower, take care of your body. You eat healthy, take care of your body. You brush your teeth, take care of your teeth. You study or whatever, take care of your mind. And meditation is taking care of something, okay? What is it taking care of? I don't know. Your sanity, right? So you don't go insane, which becomes so common that we actually think it's like normal, okay? Until you step out of this culture and you see most of us are insane because we are so selfish, right? And I don't mean like, selfish in a way that we're so, bad to other people, but we are so separate, right? And not really, really deeply understanding the unity. Okay, so we're living in this dream of thinking that we all are kind of these individuals who can work for our own good. And if we were to step out into an enlightened perspective, and look at all these people who are like a hand that's dreaming it's separate because the fingers come apart, and it's like looking here but doesn't look down. I mean, that would seem insane, right? So meditation is just sometimes remembering that who you think you are is not the end of the story. And that's just coming back to a little sense of being reassured. You can be reassured that, sometimes when you feel insecure, that's good. That insecurity is good, because it's letting you question who you think you are a little bit. So even that fear, insecurity, anxiety, the normal dukkha, the normal suffering of being a human being, even without being a refugee from Eritrea or something, the normal suffering of just being here, even when you're comfortable, okay, is a good reminder that we're not necessarily who we think we are. So even in our meditation, we can embrace the deep questions we have about ourselves. And meditation gives you that place, it gives you that space to let all those anxieties and questions arise and pass, okay, without thinking, I'm crazy. Because that type of crazy is actually sane. When you can deeply question, who am I? What am I doing here? Does this really matter? Okay, well, what should I be thinking about? How do I end suffering? These deep questions, that's another thing. When you stop asking the questions of why you're doing your practice, big mistake. Don't feel too comfortable with your meditation practice, right? That's why, doubt has a serious place in our path. And we're always doubting, what the heck am I doing? What am I doing? And how can I really be happy? That's the big question. Is what I'm about to do now going to increase happiness and decrease suffering? That's the big question we should be asking very frequently. And meditation can bring us back to that sense of all these thoughts and all these everything. You just ask, is it serving the path? The path to what? To greater happiness, right? True, lasting happiness and decreasing suffering, ending suffering. Okay? So, we have to, if you're not in a deep way on a frequent, with frequency, asking the most basic questions about what you're doing, even why am I sitting? Why am I sitting? All it can do is help you with your motivation. That's what it'll do. Okay? Even if you wake up and you say, this is not my way. Like this is not actually happening. This is not helping me. Then at least you'll know that. Okay? But you need to embrace that doubt. Right? And then doubt that. Okay? So if meditation isn't working for you, talk to your teacher, talk to your spiritual friends. You should have spiritual friends, meaning friends who, understand your practice life in some way. Perhaps share it. Someone you can talk to. And then see what it's like when you don't practice. Okay? And then keep doubting and keep asking, all right, what is really the path to ending suffering and cultivating true happiness? What is really the path? Right? Meditation is good. Is it the only path? No. So doubt everything, but keep on the path. So the beginners, that's what we call beginner's mind in Zen Buddhism, but I just call it like that great doubt. So that's a mistake. Is sometimes when people feel like they have a good meditation practice, they know what they're doing. Okay? I don't know what I'm doing. And then I know, and then I don't know. And then I know, and I don't know. And it's not so much about knowing. Okay? It's not so much about knowing. That's what the tail is about. The tail getting stuck is when we have a pretty good idea of what our practice is and who we are. Okay? Who we are. It's with so many small things, that our ideas of, like our sense of self, become really strong. And then they limit us. And basically, when you're limited because of your ideas, you are separate from those who don't share those ideas. Okay? And remember, we want to realize some great unity. And that's sometimes dropping all the ideas of who you think you are. And also what you think you're doing in meditation. So, So this comes back to the other story, the Zen story I want to mention, which was this teacher was sitting in meditation really nicely. And his teacher came in and said, "What are you doing?" So I'm sitting in meditation. "Oh. And why are you sitting in meditation?" And I said, "Because I want to become awakened. I want to realize Buddha mind." That's the tail, right? he just got stuck. He just got stuck. I mean, that's the tail. And then his teacher, of course, said, he said, "Oh, that sounds like a good idea." And then he picked up a stone and started rubbing it. This stone right here. Picked up a stone and started rubbing the stone. Well, actually, this is nice and shiny, so it's not a good example. That's also shiny. Whatever. Picked up a stone, and the student, who was the teacher, looked at him and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, I'm going to polish this stone into a mirror. Like, I'll rub it enough and it'll become a mirror." He said, "That's impossible. How are you going to turn a stone into a mirror?" He said, "How are you going to become a Buddha by sitting meditation?" Right? that was the story. And it's a classic story in Zen Buddhism, because it's trying to remind us that our meditation is not in order to become somebody we're not. Right? It's not in order to become someone we're not. Suzuki Roshi says, when you are you, then your meditation is meditation. Right? That's one of his well-known quotes. When you are you, then your zazen is zazen. Right? But when you're not you, meaning you think you've got to be something else, your meditation should be something else, your mind should be something else, all those ideas we carry and suddenly become that big tail that gets stuck in the window. Right? Just always remember that tail, that little tail. It could be just like a little thought that this is not compatible with meditation. Like this, I'm not meditating now. Oof. Gotta let go of this so I can. Where's the peace? So that's like we're living in a dream. When I say to wake up, awaken from the dream, and the dream is all the ideas and thoughts we have about who we are and what we're doing. And if you just wake up and say, "Well, all those thoughts and ideas, I see you," and I'm going to sit. I'm going to keep sitting. Okay? I'm going to recognize them as just ideas. Conditioned thoughts. Okay, so be it. I see you. I see you. Right? I see you. You're my dream. Okay? This is the dream. Right? And waking up just means seeing it for what it is. Being asleep, being lost in the dream, is then feeling like that is true. And therefore, I should try to switch my life, my experience, to that, to conform to that. And then what happens, of course, so fast that when our experience does not match our ideas, those two clash and it creates, like pain. Pain. Whatever the pain is, stress, disappointment, frustration. When my experience does not match my expectation of how it should be, what is the result of that meeting? It's not so loving, is it? Right? It's not so gentle and kind. It's usually like, like why? Why this happened? I mean, think of your day. How many times you got upset when something didn't go the way you thought it should? And it wasn't just, this is now happening, and what am I going to do now? It wasn't like this sort of nice choice of, I understand, well, change of plans. Honestly, happens so much. I'll give you some examples. I tend to have these examples on Monday. It always happens to me on Monday And I think it's just some sort of, like, I don't know what. If I thought God was involved, it was because preparation for this class. But I don't think God's involved. I wish he would be. Or she. That'd be better. Or worse. I don't know. So, I remember a few weeks ago I talked about the tax authority. Well, I was back to today. Trying to end it. And I finally, and the computer wasn't working, it finally got working, and finally got it to happen, and the place closed. They closed. Right? And I just said, I'm not leaving. Like, I'm not leaving, okay? And they're like, well, we only open at 4. It was 11, it was like 12. I said, I will wait. I'm going to stay here. So they ended up, they took the papers. That's great. But, but then I go out, and what do I find? Of course, my car has a ticket on it because I've parked like everybody else. So I thought, okay, if they're on the sidewalk, then I'll be on the sidewalk. But I guess they left before they got caught. And I see this ticket, 500 shekels for parking on the sidewalk. I thought, okay, well, what do I do with this? Well, you know what? Sometimes you just have to say, okay. Like, there's a moment where I was very aware of my emotions, right? And it was sort of intense. It was intense. And then there's like that wall, where there's a wall, and how am I going to pass through that wall? I mean, this is not like, it's pretty trivial, this example, okay? But the wall is where you feel like you cannot practice with this, okay? That you just can't do anything with this. Now, I want to suggest this wall, and I'm just using this trivial example because it happens not just in daily things, but it happens much more importantly in our meditation practice. Okay? When you are feeling like, and this is another mistake, when I'm talking about mistakes that happen in meditation practice, when you are sitting and you feel like, okay, I've gone through the doubts and everything, and I have a regular practice, there's consistency, but what is the wall? Nothing's happening. Okay, nothing's happening. Right? Plateau. Alright? Or dead end. Okay, here's something. Like, here's a ticket. I can't do anything with this. What am I going to do with this ticket? I can't throw it out, but I can't keep it. That's the wall. You don't know, you can't do anything with it, but you can't get rid of it. Right? My ticket was that wall in that moment. Right? Now that can be happening in your meditation. This is a description of feeling like I can't stop practicing, but I'm against a wall. But I can't do anything with my practice. You know what I mean? You feel stuck. Okay? There's nowhere to go. There are no options, right? That is your window. That is your window. Okay? The wall is a window. Okay? The wall is a window. How? By being a wall. By being a wall. Not by changing it into a window and pretending, oh yes, I'm going to pass through this. That's fake. That's fantasy. But when the wall is the wall, when you are you, your zazen is your zazen. Is not by trying to transform the wall into something else. Like, yes, I can practice with this. This ticket's wonderful. No, it wasn't. Okay? It sucks. But it sucking is my practice. Right? But not being attached to it sucking or that it shouldn't suck. Meaning, not being attached that it should be a certain way. It shouldn't be any other way. The way it is the way it is. Without the shoulds or shouldn'ts. Your wall is your wall. Okay? Now the other thing that helps us sit with the wall, and that's something that we do in some traditions, we actually turn around, we face the wall. Right? And the wall is very solid. And some people interpret it as that you're facing yourself, whatever. It's a wall. And that's the point. Is that whatever you have is what you have. And it's nothing else. Right? Don't try to transform it make it into a metaphor. Because that metaphor is just your dream. It's your ideas. We want to wake up to reality. Okay? We want to wake up to reality. And we want to notice closely what's happening in reality. We want to pay attention to it. Because this wall is actually pretty important, right? And what happens when you pay attention to the wall? It doesn't turn into a window, okay? It's a wall. But just like the river, it's never the same wall twice. Okay? It's never the same wall twice. Take care of that wall. Look at that wall. That wall may be escorting you for a long time. You may be sitting with that wall for a long time, but it's never the same wall. Okay? And that's what we have to pay attention to. We're not going to get rid of the stuff we don't like. But when we look at them, we'll notice that they equally deserve our attention. Because they are just as much as anything else, the pleasure, the fun, the good stuff, okay, just as much as anything else, right? Truly representing reality as it is. And that's what we want to connect with. Not our ideas of how reality should be, but how reality is. Okay? So that takes a certain fearlessness. The, meditation warrior. Okay? Who surrenders? The greatest strength that you can have as meditation master is your own vulnerability. Right? And that means embracing the wall. Okay? That does not mean holding on to it. It just means totally accepting it as it is now. Not holding on, not pushing away. Radical acceptance. Okay? Does not mean good or bad. Does not mean like or dislike. Just means I see you. Okay? This is it. I guess this is my practice right now, and I don't know what that means. Except this is it. Right? And that becomes part of my doubt and part of my faith. What is my faith? My mind is big enough to deal with this. Okay? My mind is big enough. Right? This wave will not swamp me. It's a wave. It's a big wave. Or it's a small wave. But the mind is your ocean. And there's no wave that can flood the ocean. How can it? A couple of other obstacles or common misjudgments we make in our meditation. Okay? Do you ever compare your meditations? Like, I had a really good retreat, or it was better last retreat. Or this week was good, but last week was better. Or, I had a really good meditation yesterday. What happened today? Yes, it's common. We compare meditations like we compare restaurants. Okay? It happens. That's just part of the dream. How much you listen to it is up to you. Just see it as part of conditioned mind. We compare our experiences, but you don't need to pay so much attention to that. See, there's noticing and then there's listening. I want you to hear everything, but listen only to your greatest aspirations. You should hear everything that's going on, but listen to your heart and your wisdom, your wise mind. Right? That's the difference. So yeah, okay, compare all you want. I mean, it'll come up. There's no stopping it. You're going to let it lead you, or are you just going to let it be? It's just another brick in the wall. Judging, comparing, big wall. Here we are, wow. Interesting, I didn't see that brick before. Okay. Well, wow, now that I look at it, it's a different color. Interesting, right? Face the wall. The opposite of doubt, like skeptical doubt, is overconfidence. And that's when you start telling people how great it is. your practice is your personal practice, you know. Share it with your spiritual friends, but the best way to discourage someone from starting meditation is telling them how important it is. I mean, it's obvious, right? You really should do this. It'll help you. Help me. Really? Yeah. Buddhist missionaries. The other thing I want to encourage you to hear, but not necessarily listen to, are all the experiences you have in your mind and in your body. Often people come to me after like longer meditations and report all sorts of interesting experiences they have. And I say, how interesting. Okay. Next day, where to go? Like, where is it now? You know? Or 5 minutes later, where is it now? It's all interesting. It's all interesting. So what? So are all the thoughts you have. They're all interesting. Okay? Hear everything. Listen to your, you know, main intentions. Okay? Hear everything going on. Observe everything. Let your mind be a mirror. Hold on to nothing. Right? So, you view everything equally, and there's nothing to hold on to. Those experiences come and go. Let them be an expression of impermanence rather than anything else. Because really they aren't an expression of much else. The main image Suzuki Roshi gives to people sitting in meditation is frogs. Frogs. Sitting like frogs. Frogs and the reptilian kind of existence seems very like, have you ever watched a frog? It's quite interesting. They don't move for a long time until they move, right? So, but when they're not moving, there's a heightened awareness, you know, very keenly aware of the environment. And then something comes around, he's like, you know, either jumps out of the way or grabs it. Okay. Now we shouldn't be like jumping and grabbing, but that sense of being really still and aware. And I don't think the frog's having deep thoughts. Whatever frog thoughts the frog has. But it's mainly just like aware. There's awareness there. There's a time to have human thoughts, but during your meditation practice, sit like a frog. Yeah? So if you need to sit like something and you think that the Buddha is too exalted and distant for us to aspire to, okay, you don't have to aspire to be a Buddha. Can you try frog? So that's what we'll try to be sitting frogs, and then maybe it'll take a little less pressure on having to be perfect. You can just, if you can be you, your zazen will be zazen, and then the frog will be frog. The last error I'd like to recommend that we avoid is taking our practice too seriously or not seriously enough. So, you take it too seriously, you pull that string too tight, you're going to be really stressed. When is it going to happen? And if you don't take it seriously enough, okay, I'm ready, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. Find the middle way. Each person will find their own. Right? And then sit with your wall. It'll be fine. So just this last minute of meditation before we ask a question or before you make a comment, if you have, is just to fully embrace the sitting as you, not as you think you should be, but just as you are right now. Whatever your state of mind is, whatever your state of body is, painful, pleasure, happy, sad, distracted, focused, peaceful, anxious. Whatever you are, this is your sitting, this is you. This is your frog. And we can fully open our hearts and minds to this as we are. Precisely because it doesn't define us in any permanent way. It's just a manifestation of this moment, not of eternity. So let this moment be as it is. Practice in the moment, don't practice for the rest of all time. Your practice exists in one place and at one time, here and right now. And in that moment, you can open to everything that you are. So before we depart, does anyone have a question or comment you'd like to make? Please.
You mentioned don't take your practice too seriously or not serious enough. Also very much connected with the first part of your talk. I have sometimes the most dominant story that brings discomfort. Let me think. Sorry that I believe quite often that I don't take my practice serious enough. It's like the moment where I'm aware again after sort of noticing that, you know, there was a bhavanga consciousness for a long time, which means no awareness because of, you know, there was no maga between the gates of the senses and with object. And that's like sort of 99% of the time. But, you know, in the moment that I am aware again, that there is like there's awareness and seeing that it brings up the story that I wasn't aware. Not taking my practice serious enough. I'm sure you experienced that before.
But you know, it's the moment of awareness is the one that matters. Because then that's everything, right? So that moment of awareness is what you need to just like appreciate. That 99%, okay. You know, maybe in a few years it'll be 98. But, or 50 or whatever, right? I mean, but let go of that, the expectation that it's either a lot or not a lot, but when you experience that awareness and that presence, celebrate, like just really appreciate your life and be glad that you have that opportunity. So that 1% is great. Imagine if you didn't have that, and you're just lost all the time in the dream. So you have a path where you can at least have that. Great. So this is also, not taking it too seriously. Is saying, oh, that 99%, such a loser. No, I mean, it's like, great, super. I have a path where I can cultivate awareness. And it doesn't matter whether it's 0.0001%. You have, you can celebrate that. And that's simply the shift we can make of saying, that deep trust in the path is saying yes. So, the more you kind of embrace, focus, and appreciate that 1%, the more likely it is it'll expand, right? Rather than be a basis of comparison for the time that you're not. So yes, we should spend more time contemplating outside of meditation. What will encourage? What are the factors that create that 1%? What are the factors that create that? And then we're more likely to cultivate them. So, great. That's what I would say. I would say great. That's, taking it not too seriously, but not seriously enough. Is really appreciating when you are practicing. Because if you can really appreciate, even if I practice, let's say I sit once a month, right? Instead of saying, God, I have such a weak practice, I'm only once a month. You will practice more if you really say, wow, I really, I appreciate that one. I appreciate that sitting I did. I appreciate that. Appreciating your opportunities in your life will encourage more. It's simply like conditioning our mind to, supporting healthy choices. Okay? Supporting healthy choices. And when you celebrate them rather than criticize the unhealthy ones, you will do more if you support and praise and, appreciate the healthy ones instead of criticizing the unhealthy ones. And that just is basic. So with our own mind and practice, if you say like, great, I'm glad I sat today, even though it was the first time this week. That's good. That's more. It's 1%. That's what I would say. Keep on. Like we're in a silent retreat. Can you maintain the silence till tomorrow morning? Inner silence, outer silence, you can talk all you want. Alright, so I just want to wish you all who celebrate Shana Tova. This is a big week for, this country, this people. It should be a very good autumn season of renewal. But that's up to you. I believe you can.